What's up, fight fans? Mainman Mademan here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing. What up to the fam? And what up to everyone in Mainman Mademan's boxing form? Hey, look, man. So the thing is this. So word on the curb, boxing scene coming out, dropping an article speaking about the fact that the WBO will no longer be sanctioning the upcoming fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Sabastian Fundora. Damn, fight fans. Talk about a bit of a surprise. According to the WBO, they do not feel as though that Errol Spence Jr. has done enough since his loss to Terence Crawford. He's basically coming off of a loss, hasn't fought anyone, hasn't done anything, and he's now also rated in the top 15 of the WBO. Now we do know a few weeks ago at the WBO convention, we seen Tom Brown, promoter with the Premier Boxing Champions, go to that convention and attempt to make a case for Errol Spence Jr. as to why he should be involved in the top 15 of their rankings. And the new president of the WBO, Mr. Oliveri, I think that's his name, because Paco has stepped down. So the new president of the WBO seemed to be very interested in dealing with Errol Spence. The way that they were talking at the time made it seemed like Errol Spence Jr. would pretty much be a shoo-in, and seemed like they were in agreements with Tom Brown and or any arguments that came from Errol Spence Jr.'s side as to why he should be ranked. However, today we see a different story playing out. Now, according to the reports, if Sabastian Fundora wins and defeats Errol Spence, he remains WBO champion. If he loses to Errol Spence Jr., he loses the belt, and the belt goes to Terence Bud Crawford. That's according to the new rankings. And Terence Crawford is the WBO interim champion. So that's where we stand at right now, man. So my thing is, man, first and foremost, it is the right decision. Errol Spence Jr. honestly hasn't done anything, and we got to stop this, fight fans. We got to stop these fighters that's coming off losses and still getting high rankings and still ranked number 1 and number 2. Like, there seems like to be no penalty for them coming off of a loss. So it makes no sense. Errol Spence Jr. coming off of a loss, hasn't fought, and by the time they're talking about fighting, 2 years, you know what I'm saying? Hasn't even so much as taken a tune-up, a touch, nothing, did nothing at 154. And he just want to get thrown back into a fight for two world titles after coming off of a loss. And not only just a loss, but a destruction. You know what I mean? So come on, fight fans. It does need to make sense. But once again, it does seem like the WBO was kind of on his side at once upon a time. So what do we think that changed or maybe gave them a change of heart? The only thing that makes sense from my standpoint is the fact that the WBO took a look at that fight and seen that there's not a lot of money in that fight. Or maybe these two fighters are not being paid an astronomical amount of money, which means that the sanctioning fees given to the WBO is probably not going to be that much. Not to mention they got to split sanctioning fees with the WBC. So I guess the WBO may be looking at this, and we hear news that possibly Errol is coming back in April. So that's a little ways out, fight fans. But I guess they're looking at this and they're saying, you know what, there's not a lot of money to be made in this, man. We're not tripping one way or another. And they just want to get that belt, it seems, around Terence Crawford's waist. Not to mention, like I told y'all in earlier reporting, the WBO do not want to be on the wrong side of the tracks and not have a belt around Terence Crawford's waist if Terence Crawford was to secure Canelo Alvarez. There's been a lot of reports circulating lately. Turki Al-Sheikh is talking a certain kind of way that he wants Canelo and Terence Crawford to happen. Canelo has came out in recent days claiming that he is now open to talks. So maybe the WBO is looking at that situation as like, you know what, man, we do not want to be left in the cold and not have a belt around Terence Crawford's waist if he gets that Canelo Alvarez fight. Now, you talking about a huge sanctioning fee. Imagine what they get up off of that fight fans. So I think a little bit of all of this is at play. But once again, I honestly just think that it's still the right decision to make. Errol Spence Jr. just doesn't deserve to be going after 2 world titles after being destroyed and doing nothing in the fight game. Now, keep in mind, fight fans, this does absolutely nothing for Terence Crawford's positioning in this matter. We know that Terence Crawford took some sort of agreement where he stepped aside and allowed Sabastian Fundora and Errol Spence Jr. to play out. Now, once again, if Errol Spence Jr. was to defeat Sabastian Fundora and Terence now will have the WBO belt, Errol will have the WBC belt, Terence Crawford also being the WBC mandatory, I think that the stage would definitely be set for a Spence and Crawford rematch, and we're talking bank, bank, bank. But either way, the WBO will be good because guess what? They'll have a belt around Terence Crawford's waist. You know what I'm saying? So they pretty much are just not going to miss out of any kind of big money fight that Terence Crawford is looking to do. And it looks as if the WBO has now covered themselves where if Crawford gets Canelo, or maybe if Crawford gets the Errol Spence Jr. rematch, no, either way you slice it, they're going to try to be involved, or they're going to be involved. You know what I'm saying? So only thing that's going to probably hurt them, their case, if Sabastian Fundora defeats Errol Spence Jr., then Fundora will remain a unified champion. He will keep the WBO, and he will also have the WBC. And if Bud Crawford was to go after Fundora, he'll be in position to do so. Or if he goes after Canelo, then the WBO just going to be short. Simple as that, fight fans. So all in all, that's where we at right now. I don't think that that's going to stop the fight from going forward. We know that the WBO has never been friendly when it comes to Premier Boxing Champions. Premier Boxing Champions and the WBO just haven't seen eye to eye, and it mainly has a lot to do with Terence Crawford and what went down at 147. And so that's just how they feel about, you know, PBC. They don't cut no corners when it comes to them. And they hold their feet to the fire because of some of the humiliating moments that PBC did to the WBO by not recognizing their belt, and so on and so forth, man. That was real foul, all because they didn't want to have anything to do with Terence Bud Crawford. So it is what it is, man. So this is the news, fight fans. Good stuff. We'll chop it up about this on the live stream. Come on through and rock out with the homie, and we'll talk more about the implications of this decision when it comes to Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, Sabastian Fundora, and Canelo Alvarez. Real spill. Thumbs up on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Share, share, share. Rock the bells, man. I told y'all, bro, at the end of the day, nothing ain't changing. All roads are still leading to Terence Bud Crawford. Crawford can do anything that he wants at 154, and ain't nobody gonna tell him no. To the next video, family. Peace out.